Okay.
Black and blue, I crawl along the wreckage of what now is gone. Back to you to fight another day. I'll go on and on and on and on. I'll face it, the demons I created with every last part of me.
I was off screen and I was texting, and literally Tono and Michael had my phones off. Oh, jeez. Sorry.
Black and blue, I crawl to you. Black and blue, I crawl to you.
Hello everyone, we're live!
Hello.
Welcome to the
Hello.
episode about Electronic Arts, or as we all know it, EA Games.
EA game. EA.
EA
EA
Sports.
Games piss off everyone.
Exactly, so here's the thing, I don't really know much about EA other than their infamous abuse of loot boxes in Star Wars Battlefront 2, so I don't really know much about the company, so GH, will you begin? Or Tonyo, will you begin?
Well, go ahead, GH.
I think I could start by saying that EA wasn't always the devil's asshole that we know them for today. Back in their heyday, they made some really classic computer games and stuff.
Yeah, I can't really deny that.
Let me see if I can find any.
Yeah, I can't deny that.
Yeah. Let's see, games. See list of Electronic Arts games. Damn it, Wikipedia. Why can't you just put everything in one page?
No pun intended.
Let's see. C list. Alright, let's start with the 80s and 90s, because that's their heyday, apparently. Let's see, what did they make? Let's see, oh, Mule, that was a popular Commodore 64 game, I guess. Wait, Worms? What are they talking about? I'm pretty sure Worms was made by Team 17. What else? Bard's Tale, never heard of that. There's gotta be something interesting in here. Amnesia, not the Amnesia we're thinking of. Come on. Make your own murder part. Oh, here we go. Mark Cerny made the computer and Sega Genesis ports of the popular arcade title Marble Madness in 1986. With the Genesis port being 1991, of course. Anyway, but the real claim to fame came with the sports titles. I don't know how many they made or how often they made them in the early days, but it all started, as far as my knowledge, with Madden on the Genesis in 91, which continues to this day on the modern systems, for better or worse. Anyway, oh yeah, Road Rash was a thing they made. That's that game where you race on the motorcycle and beat up the other people racing on the motorcycle. Okay, like back in the day, through either their own company or the many companies that they've acquired with their monies over the years, they've put out some really good titles. The reason people hate them nowadays is because ultimately, at the end of the day, EA is a business, and businesses like to make the monies. And like some people like some companies will try to find the delicate balance of pleasing the people and making the monies. EA is not one of those companies.
Yeah, EA used to care a lot with their games until the competition came in. No, it was like when
Yeah,
they,
they did.
there was the NFL. There are other NFL games like NFL Game Day, NFL Blitz, and NFL 2K.
Yeah, that was back when anyone could have a license to NFL in video game form and produce their own works. But when EA started to see NFL Blitz as serious competition, they decided around the time of renewing their contract with the NFL to negotiate exclusivity. Now Madden is the only NFL football game legally.
Oof.
Like, I really hate those anti-competitive practices, but at the end of the day, it's business, right? That's all I care about.
That says a lot about GH. That all he cares about is business.
Like, I care about more than business. I just want, I'm just trying to make sure we don't die. I'm not defending loot boxes. I'm just saying, even though it's shit, what can we do to stop them? If we boycott EA, if we stop buying EA games altogether, it ain't gonna change nothing because there's all these sports people. They ain't gamers, they sports people, and they'll buy the sports games because it's tradition.
Ooh, here's the thing though, haven't governments been trying to regulate loot boxes as gambling recently?
They've tried to, but then companies like EA would regularly appeal that shit because to facilitate gambling, there would have to be a risk of loss. There are two angles that these companies take, EA included. One of them being that the items you receive in-game have no monetary value regardless if you get the good one or not. So, it don't matter if you throw away money and get crap, because even if you get good, you're getting crap anyway. Another angle they take is you always get something every time you put money in, like the gachapons. So as long as they don't make a loot box that's completely butt fucking empty, then they're in the clear.
Well, here's the thing though. That first offense is stupid because people love to buy useless, worthless shit for all sorts of crazy sums. Think about baseball cards or that Amogus chicken nugget. People love to collect quote-unquote rare items. And here's the thing. If people think they have value, then they're obviously going to have value. You have the prestige of having that thing. So to say that you always get something or you always get nothing out of these loot boxes is just bullshit, really.
Yeah, I mean, hell, circling back to that first defense, for sports cards, there is a secondary market for individual cards of different rarities and values. So if you don't like the pack opening system, you can just go to the secondary market and pay what it's worth to get the card yourself. But with all the loot boxes and virtual cards in the games today, there is no secondary market legally. So nothing's worth anything because you can't sell them legally.
Alright, so but I'll just go to the second offense because I don't really want to debate right now. About the second offense,
right.
Ooh, you're always gonna get everything. Yeah, here's the thing. People like to see progress in a video game. That sort of badge of whatever level you are, that's a status symbol. And in order to get that status symbol, you in modern AAA games, you would often have to pay your way in. So getting a prestige isn't guaranteed through loot boxes as long as you pay a lot. Like, there's whales out there, just like gambling, and I don't see why it shouldn't be regulated as such. That's the thing. So we can do something, it's just that these fucking governments
The problem...
are stacked up with lobbyists, so they don't really want to do anything about it.
Probably the same lobbyists that like to get rid of... probably the same lobbyists that like to block all attempts of return-free tax filing or proper gun control.
Oof. Basically, yes.
Yeah, but enough politics. Like, there are some times where EA will look like they're acting on the benefit of the consumer rather than the benefit of the cash dollar, but ultimately it could just be a result of some personal beliefs that should never be involved in business. Take, for example, the canceled PS1 game Thrill Kill. It was touted as one of the most violent, horrific, kinda, like, out there, like, adult-only fighting games with all the blood, gore, violence, and shit. It was going to be published by Virgin Interactive, because Virgin Interactive were the only people, like, man enough to take it on, even though it was going to be rated AO. But then, Virgin Interactive got bought out by EA. And what EA did was take the Thrill Kill property and put it in what I call a copyright death grip, which is my way of saying they not only refuse to sell the game, they refuse to release the game legally, but because of how outrageous the property is, they also refuse to sell it to another company. They're going to hold on to that property as long as they can, and they're going to let it rot.
Wow. That really speaks to the problem of copyright laws, but you said no politics, so I don't really want to get into that conversation.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know, like, what EA's endgame is. They're probably trying to appeal to their parents, I guess. But... like, it's like, what's the point? But knowing what we know now, like, it's kind of silly to think that back then they were willing to shield the child's eyes from the blood and the gore and the violence and the kinky outfits, but they're openly willing to expose our children to things like gambling.
Yeah. That's kind of fucking dumb.
Yeah, like children should be sweet and innocent. They should have no ties to the adult world until they're ready, unless they're giving us money, in which case we don't care.
Pretty much, yeah. Double standards,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Like, Virgin Interactive and the developers were so furious, they ended up leaking the almost finished game and a couple beta builds to the torrent sites, and now anyone can access it today if they know what they're doing.
Ooh, so, like, about that point about, ooh, children should be sweet and innocent until they're giving us money. Well, here's the thing, a lot of these games are rated M, and these dumb parents just buy their kids, like, M-rated games, despite the fucking rating. So, at least some of it is attributable to, ooh, surprise Pikachu face.
Yeah.
But then
like,
again, these companies
I would say raise hand, but I think a verbal affirmation... good. How many of y'all have played Grand Theft Auto before reaching the age of 17?
I haven't.
I did.
I played a little bit.
Tony, what'd you say?
I played a little bit of like Grand Theft Auto at a friend's house.
Yeah. See, like, Grand Theft Auto is everywhere, and people can access it at any age because people generally don't care. The stores don't care, the parents don't care, and from what I've heard, companies don't care. Like, It's like, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, because this is kind of, I remember hearing about this. I don't know if you guys did, but I remember hearing about Grand Theft Auto being the best thing like in the world. Like everything, like it beats everything on this planet. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but I don't know. Like when I used to watch, like, say, Drama Alert, I remember hearing about this, and I don't know if you guys heard about that either. Of, like, say, Grand Theft Auto being the best thing on this planet.
Yeah, pretty much, because...
I mean, the way I see it, EA... Go ahead.
No, I was just, kind of laughing because, you guys seem to have heard of it.
Yeah, I have. Of course,
Okay.
it's like one of... Like, Grand Theft Auto 5 in particular is like one of the best games ever made.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto are pretty good made by Rockstar.
Yep. Obviously, but this isn't really about Rockstar, this is about EA.
Yeah, like the thing that that irks me the most about EA is their moral value. Like, they try to present themselves. Like, I'm not saying they're a Christian company because I have no claim to base that on, but they try to front themselves as like one of them family-oriented companies, like your local church has some sort of family-oriented vibe to it. But then you factor in the loot boxes, and it starts to look less like a Christian or Catholic or Baptist church you may be accustomed to, and more like a Scientology church where everything has a nominal fee.
Ooh. I mean, I can't say that. Since, like, EA is one of, like, the biggest studios in the world, and as game development costs grow larger and larger, these companies just feel like they have to grind every single dollar out of people, so on top of the fucking $60 fee, they have these microtransactions, they have these loot boxes. And I don't know if they, like, here's the thing, like, maybe they could probably cut their pay, but that's just wrong, so I wouldn't really know what to do. I'm not smart enough to know what to do, but I am smart enough to know that there is an option that's better than this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, for all we know, they probably cut their pay anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, but anyways, like, EA aren't alone in the scummy practices that they do, but they seem to be one of the first companies people point fingers at when it comes to the scummy practices. Because they were around from the beginning times, and they did scummy things. And now more companies are doing scummy things. Like 2K, the people that made the WWE video games, not only did... Like, when they were forced to remove loot boxes from their later titles due to gambling regulations in the other countries, they decided to take the opportunities to introduce pop-up warnings on those versions of the game, telling them to call their government people and tell them to stop the unnecessary regulation because loot boxes aren't gambling.
Wow. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so, yeah, EA isn't the only company that does these scummy things, but I like to think they're like the godfather of scummy practices, because, like, it's like, normally people would brush off microtransactions and loot boxes like, oh, that's just how they make their money. Like, yeah, that would make sense if it was a mobile game that was free to play, but this is a console where you play video games on your TV. You pay $60, or in some cases $70, for the privilege of accessing the game. And then they throw this extra shit on? Like, it's like ads, microtransactions, loot boxes. It's okay in mobile games because in mobile you're expected that you start to expect that it's free and it's open for access and you can choose to opt out of these things if you want to. But on a console game, there's no excuse because you gave them the money for the game, and now they just look like greedy bastards.
Yeah, and this goes back to the problems with the next-gen consoles, but here's the thing. Why are games on the next-gen consoles somehow more expensive when it wasn't really like that in generations past? Like, here's the thing. Like, people are fucking treating these next-gen consoles as if they're literally just upgrades and not, new consoles. I mean, I can say that Sony at least somewhat believes in the whole generation thing, but Xbox, that doesn't even exist. Like, it's literally just another Xbox One. Like, I can't rant about this enough. I literally can't rant about this enough. And this whole games costing $70 thing, yeah, that is just more evidence of these companies just treating their next-gen consoles like it's the fucking DTV transition. Jesus Christ. Fucking new transition, not just a new wear.
It's like back in the olden days, we just had standardized gaming. It's like I remember the idea of a standardized gaming price. Like back when the PS2 was fresh on the market, like I would see PS2 games for $40 and then PS1 games for $20. I imagine in the past PS1 games were probably $30 or $40. The way the values are sorted, it makes sense. Like because less people are going to be playing the PS1, might as well bring the PS1 game cost down.
Well, here's the difference.
And then all of a sudden it rose to $60 when go ahead.
Well, here's the difference in my view. Here's the difference in my view. Because since so many of the next-gen games are also available on the last-gen consoles, they're really positioning the sort of new consoles as a quote-unquote optional upgrade, to the point where Xbox is literally putting the label optimized for Xbox Series X, as if that's not the most obvious fucking thing in the world. Biggest fucking thing in the world. Like, they're really trying to grab money out of people for literally no reason. Like, they're literally trying to grab people out of their money for practically no reason.
Like, I don't even know what
Go ahead, GH.
Yeah. Like I don't even know which is stupider. The fact that having both games, having the same game on both last gen and current gen platforms makes the new system look more attractive, or that it gives the developer an excuse to slack off on the last gen version. Like some of the, like, I don't have a specific example, but people know it. Oh yes I do actually. Yes I do. FIFA. People look at, say, one of the FIFA games on the 360, and people look at the same game on the One. On the One, it's a brand new game, a brand new experience, a brand new foray into how things work. But on, say, the older gen, like the 360 or whatever, it's just literally a carbon copy of the previous year's game, just with a different roster and maybe a couple bug fixes.
Oh. So, GH, I've heard you say before this episode that you actually had a very interesting story about EA. Have you told it already, or what? You have an interesting story about an interesting EA game that you want to talk about?
I think that's the one I told I think that was the one I told already was the Thrill Kill. Because technically it would be an EA game if EA went through with it, but they didn't go through with it.
Ooh. So, like...
But, anyways, there is an interesting pattern with EA, though, and that's with the way they handle their new publishers and developers that they bring on board. Like, it's like, imagine EA is Pac-Man, and the money is the power palette, and an indie dev or somewhat small dev is a ghost, right?
Right.
And I think you understand the analogy, because what EA tends to do, they find developers, publishers with a great sense of potential, a great library of games at their backlog and portfolio. They gobble them up for some unknown sum. They push them to their limits to make games for them, and then the company that they gobbled up just dies later.
So essentially, they grab smaller companies, work them to extinction, and eventually, once the star, quote unquote, kind of burns out, they just don't do anything and just kind of take the property with them.
Like, kinda. Like, EA, I think, owns Gex. But don't quote me on that.
Oh. Wait, wasn't Dice like that?
Let's see.
Wait,
like-
wasn't Dice an example of that, though?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Like, but there is one company they gobbled up, and I hate to see die, but it died before my eyes. You're probably not familiar with this brand if you're not familiar with casual games, but there's this brand called PopCap.
Oh, I'm aware of that brand. I'm very aware of that brand. Like, I remember playing a lot of PopCap games as a kid, actually.
Yeah, like, they're really fun no matter what age you are. Like, games like Peggle and I think Zuma and Bejeweled, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I remember Bejeweled. Bejeweled, Earthworm Jim, like, all these
Like-
really good PopCap games, I remember those.
Yeah, it's like they have their life on consoles and computers, and everything's grand, everything's awesome, everything's beautiful. And even after EA gobbles them up, they try to lure us into a false sense of security by making the games even bigger, even better. And then what do we get? Radio silence. No updates, no new games. We go digging for answers, and what do we find? These games end up being ported onto the phones, and they're free to play with microtransactions and ads.
Of course.
And that's all we see. They just update that one game and milk the profits.
Mm-hmm.
Ever wonder why we haven't seen a new Simpsons game since the Simpsons game? That's because EA owns the video game rights, and even though they made those awesome skateboarding, road rage, hit and run spoofs, and that one Simpsons game I just mentioned, they pretty much gave up on all of that when they made Simpsons Tapped Out, which is still a cash cow in the mobile marketplace.
There hasn't been a Simpsons game ever since.
Yeah, there's never been a Simpsons game, a proper one, ever since the
Not
Simpsons
a proper
game
one.
in 2007.
Wow. Well, man, even when the Simpsons movie
Mhm.
came out the same year.
Yeah.
You know, I'll go ahead and say this about the Simpsons games. You know, because I've heard about them, and they seem like they'd be fun to play. And it was one of them, but one game where I saw this where Matt Groening, the creator of the Simpsons, was, I guess, was one of the bosses. You know, and he had a couple of the Futurama characters like fight the Simpsons for him, like it was Bender and Zoidberg. I don't know what game it was, but I just thought I'd throw that out.
Yeah, like maybe...
That was it. That was the latest one, the Simpsons game.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if we should actually play The Simpsons Hit and Run on Raw at some point.
That'd be fun.
I would love to. I have it on all the consoles, and hell, we can probably explore some PC mods as well if we wanted to.
Damn. At some point we should. Hell, put in the request
So,
right now.
so EA made the Simpsons games, right?
Well,
Because we were talking about
every Simpsons game since, they made Road Rage Hit and Run and the game. I don't know if they made skateboarding.
Okay, because not just the Simpsons games, there was even a Futurama game, as I remember.
Really? There was?
Yes, there was one
there
Futurama
was.
game, and other than the one Futurama game, they are also just a mobile app now.
Yeah, I did play that for a brief period of time. The app game.
Eh. I mean, one thing I loved about the Simpsons game, though, was when they made fun of EA in an EA game. You can call me a sheep when I say that's fucking brave, but like it feels brave to me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, Like that's one thing I loved about The Simpsons is like no matter who controls them, no matter who gives them the money, no matter who they're dealing with, they're not afraid to make fun of it. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I've returned, by the way.
Okay. I was almost about to say, literally, I was about to say, everybody's now all of a sudden went quiet.
Well, I'm not quiet anymore.
Okay. Well, can I, I feel like
All right,
saying,
I'm back.
I feel like saying something else too, about EA.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, so,
Okay.
because, I've really nothing to say. I don't know what to make up with EA, but, I got to admit, and this is, to be 100% honest, like, because, okay, they did some of the Simpsons games, and as Michael just mentioned, like, the Simpsons game, and the Simpsons game making fun of EA, and yet EA was making, made the Simpsons game. Well, other games that, EA have done, and, that seem pretty cool, because, well, duh, it's this franchise, etc. The Star Wars games, for example, like gosh, like there's Jedi Fallen Order, and for sure there is, of course, Star Wars Battlefronts, and I don't know, because let's face it, because anything with Star Wars and whoever, like, whether if it's like EA or if it's say Lego, the Star Wars games are always fun, and I'd say because the ones that EA have done, they are freaking awesome.
Huh. Do we even need to talk about Battlefront 2?
What's wrong with Battlefront 2?
Everything. The new one.
Do we even have to say anything like the current one? Well, the current one's better now, but not much.
Okay.
Yeah, so GH...
It's still shit.
GH, can you explain to Little Blue what's wrong with the current Battlefront 2?
Okay.
Yeah, please do.
EA thought it'd be a good idea to make the current they supposedly remade the popular Star Wars Battlefront 2 game. But when they remade it, they filled it with microtransactions. And they I think it was, I don't remember exact details. I think it was like charging $100 to play as Darth Vader or something.
Oh God.
But anyways, but they got backlash, and EA doubled down by doing an Ask Me Anything on Reddit, where they said that where they defended the microtransactions by saying it gives the players a sense of pride and accomplishments in unlocking them. And that post actually got the most downvotes in Reddit history.
Yeah, like, about that thing about the whole pride and accomplishment thing, that is literally the opposite of what microtransactions provide.
Literally the opposite.
Sometimes I can really yell like that. I love doing that.
No, it's fine. I just joined in. I just joined in, so. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What is with these video game companies?
I like to bring chemicals in the water to turn the friggin' frogs gay.
These games are for fun. What does this have to do with money? They don't have to pay for anything. Let them have fun.
That, and now you're Kermit the Frog.
Yes.
I'm bringing you the Muppet Show. Yay!
And oh shit, that's a good impression.
Thank you, everybody. Let me tell you. Everybody really likes my Kermit impression.
Hey,
And,
GH.
and rightfully so
Let them
too.
play the games instead of.
Hey, Gay, why are you so funny, GH?
I think you're shitty. Like, like, apparently, what I said earlier, those other companies are like taking steps from EA with their greediness. Apparently, they're also taking steps with the brave and stupid things they say online. Like, you know how EA said, like I said, EA said something stupid when they said $100 microtransaction gives you pride and accomplishment.
Yeah.
Apparently, 2K, apparently Take-Two, the people behind the 2K games and Grand Theft Auto, were not that far behind because they decided, in their own words, that gamers are ready to pay $70 for video games now.
Ready? Ready? What
Ready?
the fuck? Like, do they think do they think we're babies? Do they think we're fucking babies?
I mean, some companies actually went forward. I don't know if EA was included, but I think some companies went forward and said the reason they added microtransactions to the $60 games because they think that $60 ain't good enough for them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably get away with that, but here's the thing. Find another way to make that money. Probably merchandise or something. Or hell, take a cut from licensed mods.
Yeah, like I've seen people. Yeah, I've seen people like raise the price, but that was only because they were offering DLC expansions, season passes, bonus collectors material, like which I wouldn't mind, except for the fact that about half of those games still offer microtransactions.
What? Still offer microtransactions?
Like I am not about to put down $200 for a game with a soundtrack and a plushie and all the DLC and a vinyl record and a blowjob and a bag of Doritos if I still have to do microtransactions.
Yeah, like what are these people thinking? They just want to fucking squeeze every single dollar out of people? Like they just see these games as subscription services like Disney Plus or Netflix in themselves. Like hell, Fortnite has their own freaking cards alongside Netflix, Disney Plus, the eShop. Like Fortnite is, they're literally trying to treat it like a store in and of itself. Like what the fuck? Although Epic Games is all the
Like it's treated so much like a store that Fortnite actually got kicked off the mobile app stores because they didn't like that the mobile app stores could take 30% of sales, so they offered their own like store to buy the V-Bucks cheaper.
Ooh.
Like, I don't even know who's to blame here, Fortnite or the other people, but everyone's fighting, and that's what I hate. That's what I hate the most, is like when the company's practices are so questionable that people are actually fighting online, or in the streets in rare cases, over whether or not they're legit practices or just scummy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I really hate when people defend these kinds of corporations for these dumb moves, but here's the thing. It's not the most important thing in the world. Well, unless you're a really big company, then it is one of the most important things in the world. And I guess he is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
I guess my point's kind of void.
I'm just at a loss for words. Like, it's like you know how Samsung in South Korea are considered to be above the law in South
Yes.
Korea?
Yeah.
I think we can almost say the same about EA in the United States.
Oh.
Oh, what Samsung is that they actually, well, except for like the removal of the headphone jack because they want to be like, you know,
Yeah, here's the thing, though. The thing I hate about
Like,
Samsung
at least they
is...
learned their lesson and put the headphone jack back.
Well, yeah, here's the thing, though. Samsung feels like they have to play the Apple game. They feel like they have to, you know, compete with Apple. Like, they position themselves as the rival to Apple. Like, to the point where some people think Android phones are all just Samsung.
The Apple killer.
Yeah, like, well, at least Sony is as another company, another Asian company from Japan. At least they still care about they don't care
They don't really care about playing the Apple game. They just care about playing the good smartphone game. They don't really care about playing the Apple game.
Well, EA, like, I heard that 2K is gonna do another NFL game, and they're not gonna do a whole other stupid Ultimate Team, bullshit.
Yep.
I mean, they kind of have to keep Ultimate Team in the later Madden games, which sucks because, like, I don't know if it's Madden or FIFA. I know FIFA has it. I don't know if Madden has it, but it's like the problem is, like, they make more money from Ultimate Team than they do on the rest of the game. So it'd be stupid of them from a business standpoint to not include it. But at the same time, why the fuck did they make it? Like Ultimate Team is a trading card game with sports in it. Like,
yeah.
Remember last time people made a trading card game with sports in it? It didn't really sell well. I'm looking at you, Tops Attacks.
Oh yeah, it's like all the players, like IK under 12-year-olds, you're always gotta brag about. Ooh, look, I got this new player. I bought this new player. I used my mom's credit card.
Yeah, like, ooh, look.
That's the problem.
I used my mommy's credit card to get this new player. I didn't work for this at all.
Instead of caring, like, Madden used to be good with its career modes. Like, it used to be good with the franchise mode where you control the team, carry them for Super Bowl victory, draft players or sign players. That's what was great about Madden. But now they don't give a shit about that. They don't think that they don't even know. They forget that NFL does that, but nope, they only care about getting attention to kids to buy their stupid, packs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing about Ultimate Team and 12-year-olds. There are two stances to take in this particular argument, and they're both correct. One of them is that the people running Ultimate Team should not resort to practices that get their 12-year-old that does not understand the value of money to spend mommy's credit card on all these packs and loots and shit. But at the same time, you could also argue that the parents should take some responsibility. If their child's going to be using this game system that has access to their credit card, they should put parental controls on it. And take more assertive responsibility in teaching them, like, I don't know, the value, not only the value of money, but also safety in general on the internet.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. Like, this actually reminds me of that one kid who spent, like, $46,000 in total on Game of War Fire Rage, a mobile game. And it got so bad that the government of Belgium or whatever had to get involved.
Oh my god. Like, wait, to take action against a game or to take action against a kid?
The game. Like it was news.
Damn.
Christ.
Like,
anyway, I digress. Go on, GH.
Let's see, like, the argument between the company should be responsible versus the parents should be responsible is nothing new, because we've seen it already, and it's still happening in the battlefield that is YouTube Kids. It's because of parents arguing and not being responsible that we have YouTube Kids, but also it still continues today because the same people that insist that there needs to be change don't even take them up on the change. They still don't use YouTube Kids. They still have parental controls turned off, and they're still complaining that their kids are finding Lil Nas X videos.
Yeah. Like, what the hell? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's like what's the point of complaining if you're gonna wipe your ass with the update?
Like, Jesus Christ.
Anyway, EA. How do we turn this back to EA?
Well, we are 45 minutes in.
Right. Okay. Let's see what else. Let me search EA controversy and see if I can find something to fill the last segment.
I mean, some SmackDowns have been less than an hour before.
Yes. But yeah, speaking of competitors,
I know, but like, go ahead.
Go ahead, Tonio.
yeah, speaking of competitors, you know, EA if like EA just really wants to beat this big money while not just they want to keep that product so they can not compete. But FIFA does have a competitor, which is Konami, but at least Konami. Well, the thing with Konami is like they take the licenses to most of the teams in EA, and EA takes a little bit of licenses. They maintain them, but yeah, that's what I call competition. But for NBA, like you know how with NBA 2K games are always there. Yeah, EA used to do the NBA live, but now for some reason it's not even a thing no more because of how how bad it is.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, and also like right here, like Ampage's friend Orion is a victim of I'm gonna be a transaction person, consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he borrows money from me, but I will admit that he is good on paying me back. I just wish we didn't have to do this song and dance in the first place.
He's like, "Hey, GH, can I borrow some money?"
Yeah, and it's like the only reason because like both Chris and Orion have habits of borrowing money from me, but there's one thing Orion has that Chris doesn't have. Orion has his word, and he says he'll pay me back. They both say they'll pay me back, but Orion actually does pay me back.
What about no penis guy?
Sometimes he'll leave it up in the air for months, borrow more money, and then eventually around my birthday or Christmas buy me some extravagant gift that if I'm lucky is worth about half the amount that he borrowed from me up to date.
You're like in the Family Guy. You're like Stooge O'Brien. Where's my money?
Where's my money? You got my money?
Like
You got till 5 o'clock.
Like the difference is the difference is there's nothing I can do about it to Chris. I can't hold a gun to his head. I don't have a license.
Yeah. Yes.
And based on what I just said, I'm probably not going to get a license.
What about a milkshake license?
My milkshake brings the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours, yeah, right? It's better than yours.
What about a pony license? Is there such thing called pony license?
Okay, I don't even know what we're doing anymore.
Let's talk about what's the future of EA. Should they still make games and still focus on the stupid transaction crabs, or they should just slowly phase away the transaction crabs, still maintain it, and just focus on what the game's supposed to be, playable?
Yeah, like, here's the thing. Like, I don't really see a future for big studios at all. Like, the future I see for gaming is, indie developers, they're just gonna take over the entire industry. Like, these big fucking AAA studios, well, besides Nintendo, are pretty much just gonna die.
Yeah.
And eventually, these
Like,
indie
I
developers
think
are going
that's
to make
why
their own big
EA
studios,
and
and
other
that's
companies.
how we're going to compare, and that's what we're going to complain about in like 40 years.
Yeah, I think that's why EA is doing what they're doing to the smaller developers and workers under their label. Because if they gobble them up, bring them under their label, and crush them beneath their iron boots, they ain't gonna have neither the resources nor the willpower to continue making games nor form big mega conglomerate competitors.
Exactly. So, I mean, if phrased that way, I can actually see why EA is really doing what they're doing. They're just trying to save their own ass. When in reality, they're only accelerating their own decline.
Like, I'm just waiting for them to do what Konami did with their properties and start licensing them out to appear on gambling machines.
Oh. Maybe that could
Which,
be.
actually, wait a minute. Why? I just realized, why would they need to license their properties on gambling machines? Their games are gambling machines!
Exactly, dude. So I've said I've already said my piece about the future of EA. I mean, they're inevitably gonna die. It's just a question of how quickly will they die. And I don't think that becoming a better company will really save them. If they're able to become a better company.
Like, I think, my thoughts on EA's future are like Trump's future. They're gonna keep talking shit, but we just gotta keep tuning them out, and eventually they'll stop being relevant.
Well, you're kind of underestimating that.
You're kind of underestimating Trump. This is about politics. Let's not talk about politics. We already know this.
Yeah, we're not fucking QAnon.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're already burning time as is. We don't need to burn bridges to.
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, so does anyone else have anything to say about the future? Well, Eli doesn't really have anything to say, or does he?
Well, if I go ahead, sorry.
About EA.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, you know what? I don't know really what to say about EA. I mean, you know, maybe I could say this, that I hope maybe they can do better or just something because of everything I was hearing about EA, and especially not to mention now that I know of, like, say for example, Battlefront 2. Yeah, that was pardon my French, that was a dick move they pulled, but you know, in my opinion, I would like to see if they do better. If they were like, oh god, we were making huge mistakes. We really should reconsider. So that's really all I've got to say.
Oh, so Little Blue has his piece, GH has his piece, I have my piece. What's Tonio's?
Well,
Michael, I think, had a good laugh at what I said.
Oh.
Yeah, you think they're gonna do better. That's cute. Tonio, you were saying?
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
if they don't keep their shit together, then I can see them already being bankrupt or something, like how THQ was. But THQ wasn't really in decline. They still cared about, about the consumers, and they made good games. Like, for example, the WWE games that they made from, like, what, WWF SmackDown until, no, not WWF SmackDown. It was WWF WrestleMania 2000 until WWE 13. But that company's way different because they only lost money. I don't know why, but we should talk about THQ in a different episode if you want to know more about what happened to THQ, the original THQ, not the Nordic THQ.
Yeah, well, we'll put that on the list and probably get to it at some point.
Yeah. So,
But that's everything about EA.
Yeah, like if they're like if you don't get
Better
Shinsuke
than
Nakamura, they're
Ray.
going
Next
down.
week's
So
SmackDown will
yeah.
be.
Alright, so
And next week's SmackDown will be
about
McDonald's that aren't
McDonald's.
really standard.
Yes. And this Monday's Raw is gonna be about Amogus. Not just any old Amogus, Pokemon Gold, but Amogus, essentially.
Alrighty.
And
Yeah.
did you guys talk about Unforgiven
And
yet?
tomorrow's stream
Oh
will
yeah,
be
Unforgiven tomorrow.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
GH
That'll
versus
be tomorrow. Check it out on the YRC live streams channel.
me versus some Olympic competitor. Hooray! GH has to maintain his title against Nick in a submission match.
Yes.
And all sorts of Jackbox stuff too.
Yes, of course. I don't know why, but I feel like Jackbox has been our traditional, YRC
Big
live
event.
stream. Yeah.
Yeah, like I look forward to the next one. No, I look forward to the next Pack 8 coming out.
Alrighty. So, now that you know what to look forward to, see you later.
See ya.
See ya.